I'm Deborah Borchardt, and this is the Tech Report. We're going to talk about Apple today. There's lots of news out about Apple finally getting on with China Mobile and a lot of expectations that this is going to bring them lots and lots of business. Now, the stock had, of course, not done so well for the people that were up at the $700 mark, pulled back. Well, now it's been moving nicely over the last few months, and with this news, the expectation is it could move higher. Well, the question is, will it? Scott Rether and I talked about this stock not long ago. It was right around 526. You said it could look like it could go to 560, 580. It's at 570 now. So the question is, where do we go from here?
That's a big question.
You were so good the last time. Get it right again this time.
Well, last time the technicals lined up. And traders love when Apple's ready to go, when the setup gets nice and tight, because when it goes and resolves, you can make some money on an active trading standpoint and also on a swing standpoint. So if we look at the chart here from when we spoke last, you'll see lots of really nice setups. You see that lower level that developed over the summer, finally ignited 2 quarters ago. You had a nice move. You had buy area number 1, then buy area number 2, and then the last buy area was right when we were here, right around 526. And if you look at what happened over Thanksgiving at the next chart, you'll see that that move was, pretty fast, pretty furious. So we had a lot to be thankful for there. But with that said, you now have the China Mobile news. The stock is a bit extended, so at this point I think it needs a little bit of time before it resets up for another juicier move.
All right, but it's the holidays. When you go by an Apple store, it is packed with people buying phones. So people feel like, look, the sales are going to be huge for the holidays, so I want to, get into the stock now before it moves higher.
Well, it all depends on your time frame. If you're a trader right now, maybe you could trade versus 568.50, which was the morning low. If you're an investor and you repositioned over the summer or in the past quarter, just sit with it. Because if you look at the last chart here, the longer term chart, you will see that there really is some room up to perhaps a little bit north of 600 or 640. You see there's a trend now developing, so I think traders are going to try and stick with that trend that started over the summer. And there is room if you want to stay involved, but as a trader, you trim and trail, you trade around positions, and as of right now, I actually sold what I had from yesterday, and I'm going to sit, let for a new setup happen, and if it goes without me, congratulations if you're an investor sitting through it.
All right, well, like we were looking at that last big chart, in 700, boy, that was the holy grail of numbers. You think it's ever going to get back to that anytime soon?
Well, it doesn't have to make money, but I think in order for that to happen, I think next year they have to come out with a wider screen. Because this quarter through Christmas, I'm sure, or I'm hoping that they're going to sell a lot of phones, they're going to sell some in China, they're going to need something new. So if they could, in the second or third quarter of next year, come out with that wider phone and create new demand and do it seamlessly with production, I think there is a chance that at some point next year or the year after, those all-time highs will be behind it.
All right, sounds like even if you have a long-term horizon, this isn't a good, not such a bad place to get into.
I think so, and it all depends on your time horizon. But if that trend changes, which we saw on that last chart, we saw some trends break, and that was at 700 and then 660, then 560, then you have to reevaluate. But at this point, I'd love to see a 3-for-1 stock split. It would make it a little less cash intensive and more comfortable for investors, and I'd love to see a wider screen. But if that doesn't happen, I still think there's enough momentum to take it a little bit north of 600 in the first quarter of 2014.
All right, Santa. Well, Scott has told you what he wants on his list. He wants that 3-for-1 Apple split. We'll see if he gets it. That's Scott Rether, and I'm Deborah Borchardt with The Street.